Oh, my name's Fox, so they can have Fox. I recently... One, I knew of this show. I knew that the show was coming out because the Mystery Shack talked about it, and they said, oh, like, I wonder if they can have... Like, is there any merch licensing that you guys might want to give out? Or does anyone have that merch licensing thing? And then I'm like, okay, I guess there's a cartoon that's coming out. And then, like, some people have said, like, on my videos, like, are you going to watch Kid Cosmic? Are you going to review Kid Cosmic? And I'm like, I guess? And, like, I saw, like, some, I'm like, and the thing is, like, I had planned to go vacation to Texas for, like, a week. And I was planning, okay, on the plane ride there, maybe, like, when I'm over there, if I like it, I'm going to watch Kid Cosmic. And then my plane kind of got snowed in. So then it was like, well... And then I kind of just fell off until someone brought it up. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll watch Kid Cosmic. They said it'd be right now. Alright, fine. And, like, the thing is, like, I looked at it, and I'm like, I saw the main character, Kid Cosmic, the named character. And I was thinking, okay, like, is he going to be some kind of really, like, nerdy guy with a... or something like that? Because, again, like, that's kind of what his design was. He wasn't. He's kind of... The character, Kid Cosmic, is kind of like Ronaldo, but someone who learns from his mistakes and is less shitty. And also has a reason for why he kind of is how he is. But basically, if you don't know what Kid Cosmic is, it is a show it basically follows 5 characters who, after an alien spaceship crash lands in their like literal small town that's like, I don't know, is it a road stop? Is it a road stop town or something like that it's called? Where basically, like, there's only one road in this town, and that's the highway, or that's the interstate or whatever that just keeps going. Like, there's nothing around. There's just desert all around. There's mountains all around, desert, mountains, all that stuff. It's just a small one street town, and I love the setting. I love the setting because I've said this before many times, even way back if anyone ever watches any of my old Let's Plays. I did The Vanishing of Carter, I think it's called. Where that takes place like in a small town, but like in like Maine, like in some small wooded field area. And like I said, like I would have loved to live at a small town. Like I know the whole thing is like, I want to move out. There's something that happens in this small town. I want to move to the big city. I'm like, it's a small town in a large area of like either forest or desert. In this case, desert. There's a crap ton to explore. There's crap ton to look around and like, you know, scavenge. And I would have so much fun in something like that. But in any case, beside the point. Town where basically alien spaceship crash and 5 cosmic stones, which if they're not inspired by the Infinity Stones, and mind you, I'm not saying the MCU Infinity Stones. I mean more along the lines of, you know, the comic book Infinity Stones. Because, surprisingly enough, like, there's been a few, like, Infinity Stone homages throughout multiple things before I even knew what the Infinity Stones were. From Ben 10 with the charms of Benazar? I can't remember what they're called. Let's see. Charms in Ben 10. Charms of Bezel. Like, the Charms of Bezel, those are a reference to the Infinity Stones, apparently. There's the Ghost Stones, or whatever the hell it is. That's literally Infinity Gauntlet 2 from Danny Phantom. It was Reality Stones? I can't remember. But you have similar things like that, and in this, it's kind of a similar fashion. There's 5 stones, each of them with their own powers, and basically throughout the series, you know, Kid wants to use these magic stones, not even knowing what the hell, just thinking like, oh yeah, they're magic stones, which he then glues to bolts to make them into rings, which, for me, like, I haven't worn these in like a year, but I love rings. And the thing is, my main ring, which is, I don't mean to flip you off, but this one right here, is my first ring that I got out of the hand, and you can tell it's a bolt shaped, and I love like the bolt shape of things. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the simplicity of it, but I like that. It's pretty damn cool. So when he put them into the stones, these stones glued it to the ring. It's like, okay, I'm already interested. I'm already interested. And basically, throughout the show, I won't spoil too much, but throughout the show, through the first few episodes, he slowly builds a team where it's him. There's Joe, who's like the only teen in this little town, but she wants to, go out and explore the world and stuff like that. And eventually, she gets her own ring. Then the next is the little girl Rosa. She gets her own ring, but she also sounds a lot like, whenever they talk to her, whatever, it sounds like they're talking like Dora the Explorer, like, no, Rosa. Like, I feel like I'm watching Dora the Explorer sometimes with that. There's Grandpa G. Is it Grandpa G, who's Wander Over the Yonder? I mean, that one guy from Adventure Time, House of Friends, Managed Friends. I mean, but also, wait, is the guy who made... Because I know he made False for Magic Friends. I know he made Wander Over Yonder. Did he help with the Powerpuff Girls? I don't think he did. But there's a sound effect that's in this. Wherever they pull out a sword or something, you hear the shing. Then I'm like, that is a classic Cartoon Network sound effect from Powerpuff Girls. Like all these things, like that's a classic sound effect. But basically, they each get one of their rings. They each get a ring that has a certain superpower. Oh, and Tuna Sandwich was my other favorite character other than Joe. I'm not saying I don't like any. Like they're like, all right, no. Joe and Tuna, I think, are probably my favorites. And then there's Tuna Sandwich, who's a big fat cat, which I prefer this fat cat than the one that was in. What was that? It's the newest Disney movie that came out. No, not Red. I'm sorry, the one before that, Soul. The one in Soul. And I was like, eh. But and each ring obviously has their own powers. Kid Cosmic has the ability of flight. What they do explain it a little bit more later on, which is the Green Stone. Joe has the one I think would be the one that I would want too. It's the Purple Stone, which allows you to create portals and stuff like that, which is honestly kind of awesome, and probably one of the more useful ones. I'd say that's the one I'd want. Then there's Rosa, who has one that makes her super ginormous. There's the yellow one that Grandpa G has, which allows him to multiply. And then there's the red one that Tuna Sandwich has that allows him to see the future, see dangers coming. And basically, like, kid one, first off, Joe had the idea of like once she found out the rings are powerful, and also when they get attacked by aliens, because an alien that basically chased the crashed ship and shot it down. He comes in named Chuck. His name Chuck. They named him Chuck. He comes in, basically gets trapped, or at some points dismembered. And I'm like, all right. To eventually, like, they get trapped or dismembered, and then I'm trying to think. They either get trapped or dismembered, and they're like the guy. They're like constantly like the. I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it. For everyone else, it's like, okay, well, kids, cartoon, something like that. For him, it's like, oh my god, let me out of here. And like, oh, Grimm. He's like Grimm from Great Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That's kind of what he is. He's the guy who's kind of like this, kind of the straight man, kind of serious, kind of doesn't give a shit. And like, if the kids die, they die. And honestly, he'd probably prefer it. But, and also, I want to say he either has two voice actors or he has one voice actor. But because if I'm correct, when he talks in Alien, he's the voice of Peepers from Wander Over Yonder. Because at least when like he's yelling and stuff like that, I hear Peepers, which I believe also is the voice of SpongeBob from Wander Over Yonder. But when he talks with the translator, he's Magic Man from Adventure Time. And I'm like, and for the longest time I was listening to his voice, like, who the fuck? Wait, what is that voice? Like, that voice sounds so familiar. Like, Magic Man! Like, that voice kind of thing. And I'm like, that voice sounds so damn familiar. And then it's like, oh, Magic Man! But yeah, that was a fun bit. But this show, I'm trying to think now. But yeah, like, basically the ring, Joe straight up says like, okay, I didn't know these rings had magic powers. we should probably go tell the government, police, somebody that aliens are coming to attack after like they get attacked by aliens. Eventually, the kid goes, no, we can't do that. The government will take it away and all this stuff. And like you slowly kind of learn why he's kind of like distrusting of certain things, or like why he wants to keep the rings. And basically, Joe's like, all right, fine. And basically, they slowly again build their team. That's when they bring in everyone else. And basically, they fight aliens, and they're very bad at it. But they slowly learn how to create their powers. They kind of learn to kind of bond. A kid tries to be a superhero and kind of has to, learn lessons. And, like, a bunch of different things happen. I don't want to spoil too much, because it actually is really good. But I will say, there's a point where there's a scroll that they read, which the kid couldn't read it that much, but obviously we can pause it. So I paused it and read over it, and reading it, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, wait, there's what? And if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. But Leah, I'm like, oh God. I'm like, there's more? And she's like, okay, all right. I don't know. And like, it's set up for later on. But it sets it up really well, and it's kind of like, I do feel though it's like, okay, I feel like kid probably could have read that a little quicker, probably could have read that bit, but dang, I mean, he was stressed at the time of reading it, so it wouldn't surprise me if he couldn't. But yeah, so that happened. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. But I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm like, you're not gonna bring any of this up? No, all right, fine. But yeah, reading that, I was like, okay, and it sets up for the end. Also, even like the final battle at one point, some characters pop, and I'm like, okay, I think I know who these people are now. I kind of guessed it like a few seconds before they actually explained it. It was when that red robot popped up and he was fighting with the Red Ranger. Watch the show. But yeah, the show, honestly, it's really good. I really liked it. The animation is really good. It does feel like, it feels like a comic book, which is kind of thing like kind of like static kind of like movement at some points. But also feels like a Charlie Brown show, which I liked. It was charming. Like, the colors in this show are very charming and really good, especially the one point where they're all in the dark and they have to use their rings to light up, and like each character lights up in the color of their ring. I'm like, that actually looked really cool. Let me see here, because I took it down a shit ton of notes. Green, purple, blue. Yeah, I was writing down what they were. Oh yeah. Also, I don't want to spoil it too much. Sorry, I want to cut that out. But basically, at a point where the origin of the rings is kind of explained, I'm kind of like, okay, this kind of reminds me of like, this is like something very similar to something else about magic rocks that glow and have certain effects on people. And I'm like, it's very similar to that. And if you know what I'm talking about, you can probably put it together. But yeah, like, I like that. I'm like, all right. And again, I just, like, they set it up pretty well. They presented up pretty well, like, all the different, like, what could happen next. And also, like, why certain things are happening. Like, when, like, and the thing is, like, this show is not stupid either. Unlike, let's say, I'm not saying Steven Universe is stupid, but I do want to say, at some point in time, I think the government would have came in when a giant alien spaceship came crashing down to Earth. Like, that's just a thought. But the military or something. And this show is smart. When big shit does eventually happen, yeah, the military comes in, not called or whatever. They just come in, and they're like, yeah. What the heck? Like, yeah, we've been keeping an eye on shit. Like, all right. Also, there's a shit ton of cool references, like a point where kid rips up his shirt, like, supposed to be like Superman. Or they said, oh, you're like that Bat guy. What, Chuck? Who's Chuck? I can't remember who Chuck was. Let's see. Let's see here. You see Rosa dancing in the mirror at one point. Oh, yeah, like, there's a little animation bit where, like, they're looking into, like, the back mirrors of the music plate, and you see the little kid, like, dancing in the mirror. I'm like, that's a little thing that you could miss. Weird. Oh, yeah, at one point. Also, I believe the voice of one alien is number 5 from Kids Next Door. I'm not gonna look it up, but I think that's her. Love the rings glow in the dark. Decapitation. Also, I want to say this up too because right now, like, one, go watch the show. It's so damn good. This show loves to get dark super quick, and I really love when it happens and it kind of passes over it sometimes. It's like, oh, you know, these aliens come down and they're like, oh, we need to show these aliens mercy. And then the giant baby grabs them, shoves them in a can, and goes, I'll send you home, aliens. And Grandpa G's like, wait, Rosa, no! Woo, throws it into space. And it's like, oh. And it's like, oh, they'll probably be fine. And then either like later on that same episode or later on, they come back and they're like in space, and Rosa goes, they're sleeping. Grandpa G looks out the window and you see their dead corpses just floating in space, and you're just like, yeah. He's like, yeah, they're sleeping. Or a point where a giant kind of falls and dies, like right in front of them, and they're like, we have to hide the body. And later on, a character gives a speech after they buried the body. They made it rest about it, and they're like, you know, the body was big and the hole was small, but after a few snips and trims, we got it to fit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did you just straight up say you just dismembered a body and you show one of the clones that did it, like, traumatized, covered in blood, with a chainsaw? When I'm trying to touch him, he's just, ah! Like, I'm like, oh my god. Like, this is amazing. Like, this show knows how to use its dark humor well, and knows when to use dark humor. Or just to, like, push the envelope just enough. Let's see here. Showed their dead bodies. Oh yeah, the power rings also, like, their abilities are kind of vague a little bit. Which is really good because they can expand upon them or what powers they could have, which they kind of do at one point, especially for a kid towards the end. They expand more on his ring and like what it can do, and like it's like, oh no, like you thought it was this, no, it's actually this, and like it's like, oh shit, cool, and like I feel like all of their powers will eventually get something like that, or like you see someone else using that same power, and it's like, oh okay. Like, they could eventually be able to do that. And it's like, alright. Also, at one point, Chuck... Oh, Chuck, right. That bat guy, Chuck, right, the alien. At one point, Chuck pulls out, like throughout the whole thing, you've been seeing, like, blasters or other stuff. At one point, Chuck pulls out a legit, like, an AK-47 and fires a sucker. And I don't know why that hit me so hard. It's like... Okay, blasters, and lasers, and then he pulls out a gun, fires it, and you see the bullet move, and you see an actual bullet fly through the air, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, why does this feel wrong? Like, why does this feel weird? And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't know, I just never thought about it, and it's just like, after seeing all the aliens, to see like a literal gun, maybe it's because I know what a gun can do, where a laser gun, I'm just like, okay, like, okay, yeah, they can get shot. I don't know if it kills or not, whatever. But yeah, I'm like, alright. Also, I think there's something to do with Route 70, which is brought up later on, which you don't know what Route 70 is. Go watch the show again. But, Route 70, like, I think there might be something up with that, too. Also, when one of the clones died and Grandpa G goes, 107 went to heaven. Like, oh god. Let's see, leaked blue blood, decapitation, which there was one. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, with a few cuts and trims, we fit that body in that too small hole. Grandpa G says as one of his clones had to hack up the body. Yeah, it's a vacuum. I knew it was a twat. Oh yeah, I remember. I can't remember what it was. Something happened. They said that Rosa goes, or no, I guess Rosa or something. Oh no. Kid says to the cat, because the cat's all huge. He's like, you knew it was a twat, and then Joe goes, I knew it was a twat. And I'm like that's just good writing. And I mean that sincerely. Like, that's really funny. Okay, fine, we'll be heroes. Alien sounds familiar. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's... If they're not the same person, then for when he's speaking English, it's... when he's speaking English with a translator, it's the guy who voices Magic Man. Actually, who voices... Hold on. Who voices Magic Man?
Tom Kenny. Here's a summary from Wikipedia.
Okay. Who voices Peepers from Wander Over Yonder?
Tom Kenny voiced...
Okay, so they are the same person. Okay. Damn, that's a really good voice range. Damn, that's really good to do. Oh my god! To Magic Man! That's really good. That's a really good range. But yeah, I could definitely tell that was Peepers when he was yelling and all that stuff. Or, but, my Zoe's like, what the fuck was that? But, it's okay, Zoe. That was just me. It's okay. And then but yeah, so, I guess, I've been talking too much. Go watch Kid Cosmic. It's really damn good. I would honestly love, like, I was thinking, like, you know, Ben 10 crossover with Kid Cosmic wouldn't be too bad. Oh no, it's on Netflix, not HBO Max. Damn. Slow. Kid Cosmic. Really damn good. Let me see. Is there any last things I want to bring up? Oh, there's pink rainbow aliens at one point. Maybe that's something for later on. Aliens surrendered and they killed them. Yep, that happened. Tuna. Oh yeah! At one point, Tuna the cat starts talking, and I'm pretty sure that's Sam Elliott. Hold on. Who voices Tuna Sandwich in Kid Cosmic?
Fred Tassori voiced the character Tuna Sandwich.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Fred Tassori. Well, I don't know. How he talked sound pretty much accurately to Sam Elliott. And I'm like, did they get Sam Elliott to voice a cat? Because that would be amazing. Oh yeah, there was an ET joke where like where the alien or Chuck created a box of alien thing, a box to communicate with his leader. Just showed people being eaten. They cut the feed when Kid Cosmic beat the bad guy. Oh yeah, there's a point where like they're recording with a camera and like the camera cuts off when like aliens attack because they're like, oh my god, did you see that? No way, we'll never be able to describe what happened. It was so too amazing. And it's like, I'm like, I love that joke. Peepers is the voice of the alien and Magic Man. The ring's powers are also vague. Could easily okay. Oh yeah, at one point the aliens Chuck starts shooting at Kid Cosmic with his ray gun and like it completely misses. And then one point someone pulls out a gun and fires and they hit right on point. I'm like, what the hell? Or he shoots and he gets like really good. I'm like, what the hell? But anyways, yeah. Kid Cosmic, go watch it. It's really damn good. It's really, really, really damn good. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. I hope the Mystery Shack does get like rights to it so that way they can make the Rings of Power. Even though I would say the Rings of Power are probably very easy to make. I'm not sure if you could find a bolt that is like big enough. Maybe you could. A bolt that's big enough, but all you need is the bolt, and then like you could go to like one of those stores where they have like the bat, like they have like the all the little stones, and it's like, oh yeah, fill up the little bag as much as you want for $5, and you get all the stones you want as long as you can fit it in the bag. Like one of those things, you could go to there, grab some of those stones, glue them like onto the bolt, and you pretty much got the Rings of Power. Which I don't know, also remind me a lot of Green Lantern. That might also be another reason, might be another inspiration for it, which wouldn't surprise me. But I feel like it's like a mix of, kind of, it's a kind of. But yeah, but thank you for watching. Which videos I've done. Links are on my Facebook around there. So videos. Hopefully enjoy this, and we will see you later. Yeah.